So, ladies and gentlemen, again, good morning. I want to speak a little bit about perspectives of the forestry in Lithuania in a changing environment. Well, I guess I'll speak about 20 minutes, and I try to speak slowly. I will start with the introduction and the background, then I will speak about the modification of silvicultural concepts, development of simulation programs, which is linked to the modification of these concepts. I will show you a few slides regarding the establishment of short rotation coppice plantations, and I will end up with conclusions and recommendations. Is there any translation needed, or? Yeah. Okay, let's start with the introduction and the background. When I checked your forest yearbooks, I found that there are three very important tree species in Lithuania. This is pine, which covers 35% of the forest area. This is spruce, which covers around 20% of the forest area. And this is birch, which covers 22% of the total forest area. Well, why do I start with that figure? It is always risky. We know it from Germany, but also from other European countries. It is always risky to grow one species on large areas, especially if the conditions are changing. And what I found too in your statistical yearbook, there is a shift of the site indices, or there was a shift of the site indices between 2003 and 2015. So it means the site indices improved for pine from 2.1, according to your book, to 1.7. From spruce, for example, from 2.3 to 2.0, and for birch, from 1.3 to 1.0. So it means the growing conditions are improving in Lithuania.
Aspektėlių, ką matote šitoj skaidrėj. Na, viršui turbūt visiems gana gerai pažįstamas paveikslėlis, pagrindinės mūsų medžių rūšys, ar ne? Pušis, eglė, beržas. Ir tačiau kitas akcentas, ką profesorius pateikė, tai lentelėje esančioje dešinėje, kaip matom, gerėjančios mūsų augimo sąlygos. Ir jos gali būti pastebėtas, sakykime, gerėjantis bonitetas, kuris anksčiau buvo 2,1 pušiai 2003 metais, 2015 1,7, egliai nuo 2,3 sumažėjo iki 2, o beržai nuo 1,3 iki 1. Tai tokie duomenys yra pateikti mūsų nacionalinių miškų statistikoje.
So this coincides very well with the findings of an international study which was published 20 years before in 1996 by the European Forest Institute in Joensuu. And in 1996, from a lot of European countries, there was reported that the growth trends of the main tree species were positive. So it means the growth increased. Plus signs indicate increasing growth trends. So this is a fact which was and is observed all over Europe during the last 30 or 40 years.
Na ir tie patys dėsningumai, sakykime, gerėjantis medynų augimas yra pastebimas ir daugumoje Europos šalių. Ir matote, čia sudėti ir ženkliukai, pliusiukai, nuliukai, kaip keičiasi, sakykime, tas. Negirdit, Mariu. Kaip keičiasi, sakykime, našumo dinamika Europos mastu?
So the question now is, why do trees and forests grow faster? Why? maybe because of improved silvicultural treatments, but main factors are the changes of the environmental conditions. First, worldwide, the carbon dioxide is increasing from 1800 to 2000, from 280 ppm, parts per million, to up to 400 now. And you know, carbon dioxide is one of the most important nutrients for forests as well as for all kinds of plants. And secondly, what we observe also in Europe, there's a nitrogen input from the air all over Europe. Blue colors indicate a very small nitrogen input, red colors indicate a high nitrogen input. And nitrogen is also a very important driving force for the growth of trees. When I was a student, a long time before, our professors told us very much about fertilization. Fertilization is not a topic today because we receive a lot of nutrients for free from the air. Well,
taigi, keletas aspektų, kodėl gerėja medynų augimas visoje Europoje. Tai profesorius paminėjo keletą faktorių, aplinkosauginių faktorių. Pirmas dalykas tai buvo anglies dvideginio koncentracijų didėjimas. Kaip matot, grafikas pateiktas. Tai vienas aspektas, o kitas aspektas, na turbūt, kaip profesorius sakė, profesoriaus Friedricho Heinzo. Na, ankstesniais metais profesoriai jie kalbėjo apie tai, kad būtina tręšti miškus. Taip? Šiandien mes apie tai labai daug nekalbam, galbūt kažkur tai pavieniai, sakykime, tokie dalykai. Bet ką mes matom, kad tręšimas azotų Europoje vyksta per orą. Tiesiog dėl atsiradusios taršos, dėl padidėjusių, sakykime, NO2, oksidų ir kitų, vyksta tręšimas per orą.
So, a short view to worldwide problems. What's going on with the forest area per capita, with the primary energy consumption, and the world population. When I was born, somewhere here, 2.7 billions of people were living on the planet. 2.7. Now, around 7.4 billion of people are living on the planet. 3 times more. So this is a very clear increase regarding the world population. If you have a look to the forest area per capita, we observe a very, very drastic decrease. When I was born, the forest area per capita was around 1.5 hectares on a worldwide scale. Now it is 0.4 hectares on a worldwide scale. And in the same time, the primary energy consumption increased drastically. So these are problems on a worldwide scale. And let's say the forestry can contribute a little bit, not very much, but a little bit, in solving these problems.
Na ir keletas kitų aspektėlių, kaip keitėsi, sakykime, vaizdas mūsų pasaulyje nuo 64 berods metų. Pasaulio populiacija padidėjo 3 kartus nuo 2,4 berods milijardo iki 7,5 milijardo. Taip. Tuo pačiu, miškų plotas pasaulyje vienam gyventojui sumažėjo nuo 1,5 berods hektaro iki 0,4 hektaro. Ne? Ir kitas veiksnys dar, kas svarbu, energijos vartojimas. Matot raudoną kreivę. Kaip tuo pačiu metu keitėsi energijos vartojimas ir kaip didėjo poreikis energijai. Taip? Taip.
So, and what happened, for example, in Germany? You know, we are an industrialized country. But nevertheless, in Germany, the use of wood for energy, the production of fuel wood, was very low in the end of the 1980s. But have a look to the year 2009. in 2009, the same amount of wood was used for energy purposes as fuel wood as for the material wood use. And since 2009, the proportion of wood which is used for fuel wood is increasing. So even in a high industrialized country, there is a big demand for fuel wood.
Čia kitas įdomus aspektas toj pačioj Vokietijoje. Raudona linija pateikiamas kaip biokuro naudojimas industrializuotojų šalyje kitose, o geltona linija rodo medienos naudojimą, sakykime, tam tikrų sortimentų, produktų gamybai ir taip toliau. Ir kaip matot, apie 2009 metus naudojimas šioms dviem kryptims beveik susilygino. Ir kaip matot, toliau biokuro naudojimas jisai kyla į viršų. Tai čia toks įdomus aspektas, kad, sakykime, kad medienos naudojimas kurui tikrai yra labai svarbus ir perspektyvoje turbūt dar didės.
So let's summarize with a few words the introduction and the background. The population worldwide is increasing. The environmental conditions are changing, and the demand for wood is also increasing. So the question is, how can the forestry cope with the challenge of climate change and the increasing demand for wood? Maybe you translate these.
Ir čia toks kaip apibendrinimas ar tokios kaip ir problemos suformulavimas. Kaip matot, gamtosauginės sąlygos keičiasi, taip? Vienas aspektas. Kitas aspektas, medienos poreikis pasaulyje didėja. Tai keliamas toks klausimas, kaip mes miškininkai, kaip mūsų metodai gali padėti išspręsti štai šias problemas. Kaip mes galim jas reflektuoti?
Well, I will speak a little bit about the modification of silvicultural concepts. It means conversion of pure stands into mixed stands, creation of structured forests consisting of tree species which are better adapted to climate change or which are growing faster. And I will speak a little bit about the promotion of natural regeneration instead of plantations. I do not speak about that point, but I will also speak a little bit about the establishment of short rotation copies, SRC plantations, on former agricultural land. These are options for the forestry in order to cope with these challenges.
Pagrindiniai aspektai, kaip tai būtų galima pasiekti, tai pirmas, sakykime, mūsų miškininkavimo tradicijų pritaikymas, toliau grynų medynų transformavimas į mišrius medynus, toliau kūrimas daugiaardžių įvairiarūšių medynų ir sekantis dalykas natūralaus želdinimosi propagavimas ir dar vienas aspektėlis, tai yra trumpos rotacijos želdiniai ir jų galimybės.
Well, in Germany we introduced a new forestry 30 years before. We had also, comparable to Lithuania, huge areas where pure stands were growing, pine stands as well as spruce stands. And we knew, or we unfortunately made the experience that huge stands formed of only one tree species are very risky. It's risky. So, therefore we started to convert pure stands, for example, even-aged spruce stands or even-aged pine stands, into mixed stands, because we know that climate is changing and some tree species are not so very well adapted or might be not so very well adapted to the future climatic conditions. Therefore, we have to think about to enrich the number of species in our forest area. Here you can see a nice picture from a mixed stand. Douglas fir, which is mixed with Norway spruce and beech. So we try to convert in Germany pure stands into mixed stands on a huge area.
Čia dabar šiek tiek, kas vyksta Vokietijoje ir į ką jau fokusuojasi, tai, sakykime, prieš 30 daugiau metų buvo orientuojamasi į grynų medynų auginimą. Tačiau po to prasidėjo medynų transformavimas į mišrius medynus ir, sakykime, dešiniai pusėje jūs matot paveikslėlį, kurį yra 3 medžių rūšys, tai posūgiai, eglė ir bukas. Vat, ir tai vyksta dėl to, kad būtų galima kovoti su klimato kaita, sakykime taip. Nes vienos medžių rūšies auginimas yra gana pavojingas klimato kaitos atžvilgiu.
So, and we also have to produce a little bit more wood because the demand for wood is increasing. According to our National Forest Inventory, we know that different tree species show a different growth performance. If we, for example, compare spruce to Douglas fir or pine to Douglas fir, I guess it is clearly to be seen that Douglas fir is producing more timber per hectare than other tree species. So there is an increasing demand for wood. The forestry has to try to cope with that. And we also know that some of the foreign tree species might be better adapted to future climatic conditions than our species, our traditional species, like spruce and or pine.
Dabar čia bandoma paaiškinti, kodėl tos kitos medžių rūšys, tai sakykime, ir čia Douglaso posūgė, kaip matot, jinai auga sparčiau, šiek tiek sparčiau negu eglė, ir sparčiau negu pušis ir sparčiau negu kitos medžių rūšys. Tai jeigu mes siekiam produkuoti daugiau medienos, tai natūralu, kad turėtume pagalvoti ir apie medžių rūšis, kurios yra produktyvesnės.
So, some people are not convinced that foreign tree species or some foreign tree species are a good admixture, but I want to demonstrate you that this is definitely a good option. You know, before the last ice age, we had many more species in Europe than now. The number of species was reduced by the ice age. If you go exactly to the same latitude, let's say in the northwest of the United States, or if you go to the same latitude in Primorye, in the far east of Russia, you will find much more tree species than in Europe. So the variety is much higher there compared to Europe. Here you can see again that picture. This is a nice picture of a mixed stand. Here you can see the visualization created by a simulation model. And this stand is consisting of 4 tree species. The brown ones are Douglas fir, Pseudozuga menziesi. The gray crowns is Norway spruce, Picia abies. The green crowns is beech, Fagus sylvatica. And the yellow crowns is oak, Quercus robur. So this is a stand consisting of 4 tree species, at least consisting of 3 or 4 layers. This stand is producing very much timber, it is growing very well, and it offers also a huge biodiversity.
Čia pirmas toks aspektėlis buvo, sakykime, dėl tų vadinamų introdukuotų medžių rūšių. Ir, kai kas gali pagalvoti, kad galbūt tai nėra labai gerai čia. Bet, ką profesorius sakė, kad, sakykime, Europoje pas mus čia medžių rūšių sumažėjimas, sakykime, įvyko dėl ledynų. Ir jeigu mes pasimtume, tiesiog toj pačioj altitudėje Šiaurės Amerikoje arba tolimai rytuose, mes ten surastume daug daugiau medžių rūšių, negu kad yra pas mus dabar. Tai tas aspektas, kad jos, sakykime, svetimžemės, tai galima sakyti taip, kad, nuo kurio tai laiko jos svetimžemės, bet iki kažkurio tai kito laiko jos čia ir augo. O greta yra pateikiama struktūra, kaip matot, jau čia daugiau modelis, kaip medynas atrodo, arba kaip štai kairiai pusėje pateiktas jo paveiksliukas, ir aukščiausiai pocūgės, toliau eglės, ir toliau bukai su ąžuolais. Toks įvairia rūšis, daugiafunkcinis, su daug aplinkosauginių aspektų, labai daug funkcijų generuojantis medynas.
So have a look to the yield values. This stand, which is growing in the southern part of Germany, is 85 years old. The basal area is 61 square meters, and the standing volume is 1150 cubic meters. It is quite astonishing.
Kaip matot, tam tikri našumo rodikliai 85 metų, šis medynas jau turi 1151 kubinį metrą.
And here you can see the height curves. This is maybe not so very important, but you also can see the diameter distribution of the different species. And the Norway spruce, the green bars, has exactly the same age as the Douglas fir, the blue bars. And you can see that the Douglas fir was growing much faster in diameter, exactly at the same age in this mixed stand compared to the Norway spruce. So the largest Douglas firs reach diameters of more than 1 meter after 85 years, and the largest spruces inside of the same stand, they reached only 70 centimeters. So there is definitely, or let's say Douglas fir is definitely growing faster than some of our traditional forest species.
Čia matot, kairiai pusėje pateiktas medyno aukščio kreivės visoms medžių rūšims ir dešiniai pusėje pateiktamas, sakykime, medžių rūšių pasiskirstimas storumo laipsnis arba skersmenų pasiskirstimas storumo laipsniais. Ir kaip matot, Duklaso Podsūgė yra daug dešiniau ir jos, sakykime, maksimalūs skersmenys yra pasiekiami jau virš 1 metro, o eglių yra daug mažesni.
So it's very important, ladies and gentlemen, that you do not misunderstand me. I do not say replace pine stands or spruce stands by Douglas fir stands, or replace pine stands or spruce stands by great silver fir stand, and so on. What I'm saying is, let's speak about the future composition of our stands, which tree species could be used in order to form stands which are consisting of more than 1 or 2 species, in order to minimize risks, and also in order to increase the growth performance. This is my recommendation, not to replace one species by another one.
Čia toks svarbus profesorius aspektas, kad jisai nesako, kad imkite, pulkite dabar ir sodinkite visur Podsūgės ir darykite tas transformacijas, tai nėra jo tikslas, bet jo tikslas yra daugiau iškviesti diskusiją ir pamastyti, kaip atrodys mūsų medynai, sakykime, po 100 metų ir kaip mes galėtume prisitaikyti arba padaryti, kad medynai augtų, prisitaikytų kaip galima geriau prie klimatinių sąlygų, kurios galbūt bus tuo metu.
So this is a slide from northeastern part of Germany, from Mecklenburg-Pomerania, where the site conditions are more or less the same or very similar to the site conditions in Lithuania. So in the northeastern part of Germany, we established some years before a trial area, a huge trial area, where Douglas firs were growing in the dominant layer, Norway spruce was growing in the codominant layer, and somewhere in between, beech was growing. And what happened to the natural regeneration? Here you can see a lot of subplots. Each subplot has a size of 2.5 by 2.5 meters. And what you can see clearly, that in the natural regeneration, Douglas fir is dominating, followed by spruce and by beech. So it means Douglas fir is, on this site, very well adapted to the environmental conditions.
Čia kaip matot, Douglaso Podsūgės natūralus savaiminis želdinimasis, tam tikrose tyrimo bareliuose. Ir kaip matot, savaiminis želdinimasis tikrai gana geras buvo.
So why did I speak a lot about Douglas fir? Because we have a lot of experience with Douglas fir, but I also will speak, or will introduce you a little bit into other species. In the moment, we are researching on the following species in Germany. We are researching on Douglas fir, we are researching on great silver fir, Abies grandis. We start to research on coast redwood, Sequoia sempervirens, a little bit on western red cedar, and of course we are also researching on the silver fir. Maybe you know that our silver fir naturally is not growing on the coast of the Baltic Sea, but we introduced it there, and it is growing very well, our traditional silver fir. I will show you some slides. And we are researching also on Castanea sativa, sweet chestnut, and Quercus rubra, northern red oak.
Ir kaip mato, čia patikimas yra sąrašas medžių rūšių, kurios yra, sakykime, bandomos ir nemažai kalbėta apie pocūgę, tačiau ir tokios medžių rūšys, kaip pilkasis kėnis, sekvojos, tujos, kaštanai, net ir tas pats raudonasis ąžuolas yra dėmesio centre, ką būtų galima auginti.
So the question now is, how can we mix trees of different species which have a different growth performance in a stand? It is very hard to mix it species by species, but we can use patterns like this. So we easily can admix, for example, a faster growing species in groups or in strips, maybe on skid trails, or we can plant faster growing trees in the border areas. So we have different options for the mixture of tree species with different growth performances.
Čia dabar šiek tiek kalbama, kaip mes galėtume mišrinti tas medžių rūšis. Ir paveiksliukuose matosi schemas, kaip galima išdėstyti skirtingas medžių rūšis.
Some more slides. I told you that after the Ice Age, Pizia abies, silver fir, did not come back to the Baltic Sea. We introduced it artificially more than 90 years before, close. This is a picture of the island of Rügen. Maybe you know the island of Rügen. It is in the Baltic Sea. And unexpectedly, our German silver fir is growing there very well. It is growing very well. Why not to bring our German silver fir to the coast of the Baltic Sea? Why not? We did it, and the growth performance is quite good. You see, age is 92 years. Maximum diameter is 70 years, and the maximum height is 32 meters. Quite good growth performance. Nobody expected silver fir to grow there in this way.
Dabar akcentuojama pilko kėnio augimas šiaurinėje Vokietijos dalyje prie Baltijos jūros. Ir toks akcentas, kad jisai auga labai gerai, ir toks pasiūlymas ir klausimas, kodėl, sakykime, neištęsus šios medžių rūšės, sakykime, link mūsų, kad mes irgi galėtume, sakykime, tose priekrantėse ar netoli nuo Baltijos jūros, sakykime, taip, auginti šias medžių rūšės.
Some more slides. In southern Germany, we have a lot of plantations of giant Abies grandis. It means Abies grandis, great silver fir, which was introduced from North America. Have a look to that tree. It is 130 years old, DBH 155, and the height 51 meters, 0.5. And great silver fir, Abies grandis, is very, very shade tolerant. It is very easy to regenerate Abies grandis naturally because it is very, very shade tolerant, and we know that we can easily form stands consisting of Abies grandis as well as Norway spruce and beech. It is no problem at all, and the growth performance is increased if you introduce or if you admix Abies grandis.
Dabar tas pats pilkasis kėnis, pas juos jau įvežtas iš Šiaurės Amerikos, ir kaip matot kampelį ten amžius 130 metų, skersmuo krūtinės aukštyje 1,5 metro, aukštis 51 metras. Ir kitas labai svarbi jo savybė, kad jie yra ypatingai pakeliantis unksmę, ir, sakykime, jis nesunkiai galėtų augti ir su bukais, ir su eglėmis, ir kitomis medžių rūšimis, ir pakelti unksmę.
So this was a picture from southern Germany. Now let's go to northeast Germany, again to Mecklenburg-Pomerania, where the site conditions are quite similar to Lithuania. This is an unpublished study. Hopefully Mr. Horn will submit his dissertation this year, hopefully, therefore it is unpublished in the moment. What you can see here is a comparison of the site indices for Abies grandis based on trial areas in Mecklenburg-Pomerania. All these green dots are representing one trial area. And in order to compare that with the growth performance of our traditional spruce, you will find here the red line. The site index in the spruce yield table Assmann-Franz top height 40, which is the best site index of that yield table. Maybe you know that yield table, Mr. Colliers, of Assmann, France. And if you compare the development of the best site index of our German spruce yield table with the reality in our ABS grandis plots, I clearly say you can see the difference. You can see the superiority of a foreign tree species. And have a look here. You can see the stem disc and the width of the annual rings.
Ir čia šiek tiek informacijos apie šios medžių rūšies pilko kėnio augimo našumą. Ir kaip matot, raudona linija yra eglės, sakykime, su našumo indeksu 40, kaip atrodo, vienas geriausių indeksų Vokietijoje. Ir sakykime, kaip tas pilkasis kėnis, jisai, gana smarkiai praauga tą eglę. Ir dešiniai pusėje matote metinės rieves, kaip jos atrodo ir kaip smarkiai, sakykime, tas kėnis auga.
So the question now is this something astonishing, or are we really doing this in forest practice? I will give you an example from forest practice. Maybe you know Germany is consisting of 16 federal states, and each federal state have their own forest law, and a lot of these federal states formed during the last 10 years so-called forest enterprises. So the largest state in Germany is Bavaria, and Bavaria founded the so-called Bavarian State Forest Enterprise, which is managing 808,000 hectares of forest area. This is one of the biggest forest enterprises all over Europe. So what are they doing, this enterprise, Bavarian State Forest? First, the economic facts. The average turnover during the last 10 years was 400 million euro. And the average profit during the last 10 years was 60 million euro, of course, also per year. It is profitable, definitely. This enterprise is profitable. What are they doing? They checked, they have a forest inventory, they know that they have 202,000 hectares of forest area where pure pine stands as well as pure spruce stands were growing. And they decided, 2005, to convert these pure stands into mixed stands. Were they successful? Until today, the conversion of 70,000 hectares out of these 202,000 is successfully completed, and the rest of the 132,000 hectares will be completed within the next 2 decades. And maybe very astonishing, 66% of all conversions are realized by natural regeneration. And believe me, this enterprise is very profitable.
Dabar tas miškų transformavimas praktikoje, Bavarijos valstybinių miškų valdytojai nuo savo turimų grynų tų medynų 202,000 hektarų transformavo į mišrius medynus, jau apie 70,000 ir per sekančius 20 mečius pabaigs šį darbą. Ir profesorius teigia ir remtis jų duomenimis, kad tai tikrai yra pelningas procesas. Ir kitas dar dalykas įdomus, kad 66% nuo visų šios transformacijos buvo padaryta remintis savaiminiu želdinimus.
Well, dear audience, hopefully I'm allowed to speak a little bit longer, because I did not expect that Mr. Linkevičius would translate or interpret my presentation. So maybe I will take 10 or 15 minutes longer. Is it allowed? Am I allowed to do this? Okay, thank you. So let's go on. Development of simulation programs. All of you are familiar with pure, even-aged and single-storied stands. And as far as I know, you have, as well as all other European countries, yield tables in order to manage these stands, in order to plan, to predict how these stands will grow in future. But if you convert an even-aged, pure stand into a mixed stand, you have to have new tools. You cannot manage, you cannot plan, you cannot predict the growth of a tree growing in the understory or somewhere in between by means of a yield table. You have to replace yield tables by so-called simulation programs or growth simulators. We started to do this in Germany beginning in 1990. And up to now, we have 2 simulation programs which are applied in all German forest enterprises. First, in order to plan, to check silvicultural strategies, and secondly, in order to train the young forest engineers.
Kitas svarbus aspektas, kad norint tvarkyti mišrius medynus, reikalingi tam tikri įrankiai, kompiuterinės sistemos, kurioms pagalba mes galėtume ir transformuoti medynus, ir mokyti jaunus specialistus, kaip galima tai būtų atlikti, kaip galime efektyviau.
So how can we apply these simulation programs in order to educate, to train young forest engineers? We have in these simulation programs a lot of sub-programs, for example, which allow to check how different thinnings, how different silvicultural treatments, different thinning treatments, different thinning intensities will force or will promote the growth of the stand. We can simulate dia distribution thinnings, target tree thinnings, target diameter thinnings. We also can check how different harvesting alternatives will influence the growth of the future stand, for example, shelter wood cutting, group felling, and so on. And we also can simulate how different advanced planting measures will influence the future structure of the stand. So a lot of silvicultural options can be easily checked on the computer. And you can use this computer program in order to train young forest engineers in order to evaluate different silvicultural management options.
Remiantis šiom programom galima nesunkiai įvertinti tiek, sakykime, ugdomųjų kirtimų įtaką, tiek patikrinti ir pagrindinius kirtimus, kaip jie toliau veiks tam tikrų medynų našumą. Taip pat galima atlikti ir želdinimąsi ir toliau ir taip toliau.
So, only 3 slides regarding short rotation coppice plantations. I know that there is a big difference between Germany and Lithuania. I know Lithuania very well, from the east to the west and from the north to the south. And you have a lot of abandoned agricultural land. We do not have abandoned agricultural land in Germany, but you have a lot of abandoned agricultural land. So what could you do and what is already done in Lithuania on that agricultural land, on that abandoned land? Well, some companies are establishing short rotation plantations in order to produce additional biomass, and as I told you, it is a good alternative use of abandoned agricultural areas. In the moment, I guess, or I was informed, that you have 2,400 hectares of short rotation plantations which are managed by Klaas-Mann-Dielman company in the region between Tauraghe, Žilute and the Baltic Sea, and you have other 200,000 hectares which are managed by other owners.
Na, čia apie trumpos rotacijų želdinius Lietuvoje. Na, kaip žinot, mes vis dar turim apleistų žemių. Tai Klaas-Mann-Dielman kompanija yra apželdinusi 2400 hektarų, galbūt ir daugiau dabar. Ir ši veikla vykstama ir privatus miško savininkai taip pat turi apželdinę apie 1000 ir daugiau hektarų.
And I guess it's a good option, because what to do with this unused agricultural land? You can use it in order to produce additional woody biomass. Well, a slide introducing you which factors are influencing the growth performance of those fast-growing plantations. Of course, species and clone. In Europe, in the northern part of Europe, mainly willows and poplars are used for short rotation plantations. Of course, the age is influencing very much rotation and length, stand density, And then, this is very important, site quality and weather conditions. Short rotation coppice plantations mainly need water. If the water availability is okay, the growth performance is very good.
Dabar čia veiksniai, kurie lemia trumposios rotacijos želdinių našumą. Tai pirma, tai, sakykime, klonai pasirinkti, toliau amžius, pačios rotacijos ilgis, tankumas, dirvožemio derlingumas ir toliau temperatūra bei taip pat labai svarbu yra krituliai arba vanduo, gruntinis vanduo.
So the question now is, how many biomass can be produced in a short rotation plantation? Of course, it depends on the site factors, it depends on the species, it depends on the rotation, and it also depends on the density of the stands. But this is a study which was published in 2009 by one of my PhD students, and Mr. Ali analyzed the growth performance of different poplar clones in Saxony depending on site conditions, and these are the results. This is a map of Saxony. Saxony is one of the 16 federal states in Germany, and you can see the area which is covered by our communes. And we applied the model which was constructed by Mr. Ali to all our Saxon communes, and we found that we could grow, and now please have a look to that map here. If we would start with the initial number of trees, if we would establish 10,000 cuttings into the soil, we could reach, on good sites, a mean annual increment between 14 and 16 tons in this part of Saxony, and in that part of Saxony, where the growth conditions are not so very good, we would achieve a mean annual increment between 6 and 8 oven-dry tons. And please be aware, oven-dry ton cannot be compared to a cubic meter. If you know the specific weight, you have to multiply the oven-dry ton by the specific weight, and then you will get automatically the amount in cubic meters. So it means 16 oven-dry tons is more or less equivalent to 40 cubic meters, and this is a lot of.
Na ir čia dabar kalbama apie tam tikrus našumo rodiklius, kaip matot, Saksonijos žemės žemėlapis ir atlikti tyrimai, ką galima užauginti trumpos rotacijos želdinius. Na ir kaip matot, našumas berods metinis, kad 16 tonų sausos biomasės, kas yra ekvivalentas apie 40 kubinių metrų hektarė. Na tai tikrai didelis našumas.
So, ladies and gentlemen, let's come to the last slide, conclusions and recommendations. First, the establishment of mixed stands increases the growth performance, I guess I showed it to you, as well as the biodiversity of forests and may help to reduce costs. The management of mixed stands is ideally combined with the integration of fast-growing tree species and the use of natural regeneration processes. Of course, natural regeneration is free of costs. Maybe you translate.
Na, tai pirma išvada yra tokia, kad, sakykime, siekiant padidinti medynų našumą, tai mišrių medynų auginimas ir medžių rūšių auginimas, apie kurias mes šnekėjom, tai būtų labai naudingas dalykas. Ir kitas dalykas, kad tai galima pasiekti ir taikant savaiminį želdinimąsi, kas tikrai sumažintų savikainą.
Secondly, short rotation coppice plantations are a good option for an alternative use of agricultural land, especially if you have abandoned agricultural land, and provide additional biomass, mainly used as fuel wood.
Na ir trumpos rotacijų želdinių naudojimas, tai pasiekėme du tikslai. Na, mes panaudojame dirvožemį, kuris, sakykime, yra apleistas, ir kitas dalykas, mes generuojame biomasę, kuri gali būti naudojama kurui.
And thirdly, simulation programs are a prerequisite for the application of advanced silvicultural management strategies in mixed forests. Maybe you know, or maybe you do not know, that Mr. Linkevicius has successfully finished his PhD at my chair two years before, in 2014, and he analyzed, or he developed, let's say, a first approach of a single tree simulator for Lithuania. And as far as I know, there was an agreement of understanding signed between your university or your institute and the Göttingen Research Station in order to develop a special simulator for Lithuania.
Trečia sąlyga tai yra kompiuterinių programų naudojimas, siekiant auginti šiuos medynus. Ir profesorius pristatė, kad čia mūsų institutas ir Šiaurės Vokietijos institutas pasirašė bendradarbiavimo sutartį siekiant vystyti medžio lygio simuliatorius Lietuvoje. Tai čia yra šiek toks tendinis pranešimas, kas domisi, galite pažiūrėti. Galbūt vėliau šiek tiek pristatysiu.
So, well, ladies and gentlemen, I know that tradition is very important in forestry. If you look back, also in Tarrant, if you look back, we have a big tradition, 200 years of tradition in Tarrant. But we also have to look forward. And we will meet a lot of challenges. And I tried to give you some ideas how to cope with these challenges. Please do your best. Thank you very much.